It was just my nerves playing up. Something about our little saint doesn't sit right with me, and I trust my gut. Oh sure, she seems straight as an arrow and as predictable as a hangover after drinking. But when I look at her, something about her makes my brain itch. After that conversation, I tried to listen to what was being said about her. Beyond the door, what I heard was strange. Blood in her past, twilight in her present, and something like a star leading her. But where is it leading her? I saw several roads, and all of them frightened me. It certainly wouldn't hurt. I'll keep a watch on her too. Ugh, if only I knew what it meant. Maybe it means danger for her. Or maybe danger coming from her. You bet I do, Lord Captain. Okay, so we went to Footfall once. Well, I mean, Lord Captain Theodora went to Footfall a lot. But on that occasion, she took me with her for some reason. My day had gotten off to a bad start. My head had been yammering since I woke up, but there was nothing else for it. I had to go. We arrived at the place. And what a place! All the gentlemen and ladies dressed to kill, showing off their encrusted implants, all clustered around little tables. Well, turned out it was a gaming den. And not just any gaming den, but one run by somebody with deep pockets for people with just as much cash to splash. You should have seen it. People gambling away planets in a game of regicide. Anyway, so the Lord Captain wanted me to help her beat some guy. So I tell her, the chips won't land in your favor. You'll get a bad hand. Don't sit down at that table, your ladyship. But did she listen? Of course she didn't. If there's one thing she never lacked, it's stubbornness. So they sat down and the cards were dealt. I'm hovering around like I'm not involved, but I'm keeping my eye on things. And everything in my head keeps getting louder and louder. Anyway, it's a good thing I realized in time that my mind wasn't going haywire over a losing hand, but something else. I made some excuse to drag the Lord Captain up from the table and took her away from that place. And a few minutes later, the room where we'd been... It turned out some wise guy had the same bright idea to bring a pet psyker along with him. One of those ones who just scuttle around in Footfall's underbelly. And the psyker just freaked out, I guess. After all the commotion, people went to see what happened in the room. And they'd all gone for each other's throats. Literally. With teeth. And I think they completely detached that asteroid from Footfall and pushed it off into open space so it would head off toward the local star. Lord Captain, forgive me, but it would be like talking to a person born blind about colors. I could spend hours explaining, but it wouldn't make any sense to you. Every psyker feels their connection with the warp in their own way. One person might see spots and shadows out of the corner of their eye. Another feels fingers running down their spine. As for me, I've got a door in my head. One that's open just a crack. There's no way to close it, no matter how hard I try. I've just had to get used to the whispers from the other side. When I need to use it for work, I listen in more closely. But I usually just try not to notice it. All right, that's what I'm here for after all. So, I'm just going to lean on that door in my head a little more, prick up my ears, and listen to what the warp's got to say about you. If you'll allow it, I can listen right now. All right, let's hear what they're whispering about you. Another road. The road begins at the threshold of the expanse and leads to the bowels of the emerging World. Reading the threads of fate is not meant for you, slave of the enthroned corpse. Step into the embrace of doom, for thus was it preordained by the architect of fates. That wasn't me. I swear on everything that's holy. I don't know what the second road is or who watches over it, but I beg you, stay away from it. Of course. Always at your service. Whenever you need me.
Domin. The Gothic we use to communicate is different to that spoken on the upper decks. Domin has many meanings. Giver of life, Lord or Lady of the Ark, and Shadowless Sun. The matriarch Spider gave this title to the rogue trader who allowed her to form the blood-spun web. We use other titles as well. For example, Venai means Master of the Immaterium, or Watcher of the Veil. Vil means one who must go to the other side. Amig means one you can trust in battle. I am the second spinner of the blood-spun web. A spear in the hand of the undying Emperor. I am your shield and shadow. The tenets compel us to let our deeds speak on our behalf. There is no one in the cult who does not know me. So I have grown accustomed to taciturnity in matters regarding myself. Ask. I remember nothing of my childhood. The Vizier says this is because of my training and the injuries I received in battle. He told me it is the fate of all high spinners. The only memories I have are of the blood-spun web and the brothers and sisters who serve the cult alongside me. None dispute your skill in close combat. Your body is well hardened. And perhaps you could even learn some of our techniques. Our art, however, is more than just patterns of movement. It is one's ability to give oneself completely to the dance of death. To fight as we do, you would have to empty your being, to start anew, to reject both the title of Domin and all the memories of your own past. When we were young, we would sew our eyes shut and wander through the bays for months at a time, starving, surviving, dying. This trial of darkness honed the senses of those who passed it. We were elated, for we knew we were blessed by him. When we grew older, we learned to wield our weapons, and our mentors tested us with pain, poison, and the weight of deceitful words. In time, our bodies no longer felt pain. Our blood became resistant to toxins, and our focus could not be shaken. We were at peace, for we had shed everything that could encumber our faithful service to him. When we came of age, we faced a great trial. A year-long vigil spent in unceasing prayer to the Undying One. When hunger and other base sensations faded away, we attained true comprehension of ourselves and our place in the world. our place between life and death. We were proud, for on that day, he truly accepted us, and we accepted him. Those who devote themselves to the service of the Undying One must be prepared to pay any price. Emotions, blood, life, death, memory. We all must lose what we hold most dear to become a spear in his hand. Some may lose everything, but they will also gain everything. You can see for yourself. Tools for tempering the flesh. If a spinner neglects this practice for too long, their body will weaken and their sensitivity to pain might return. If it does, they will feel the overwhelming agony of every wound they have ever endured and go mad with torment before the Undying Emperor whispers their name. Is it possible to experience pleasure if one feels nothing? You have found an interesting use for this tool, yet it still serves its purpose. The flesh remains untorn. Good. Do you have other questions? When we join the cult, we relinquish our past. The blood-spun web becomes our new family. I have seen the pain, terror, and doubt in the eyes of those who hear the Undying One whisper the names of their kin. For some, the blessing of oblivion is a gift not unlike death. Attachment makes us weak. The weak meet their demise prematurely. But such death does not please the Undying One, for a soul must not be claimed before their time has come. It is true that spinners occasionally cross paths with those outside the cult, but such paths always diverge in the end. We may, but not you and I, Domin. Our threads cannot be unwoven, and only the Undying One will end my service to you. Know your enemy and prevail in battle. Know your ally and prevail in war. It is not difficult to speak the truth. May the Undying One shroud your footsteps from the faithless.
The Omniscient knows all, comprehends all. The request is approved. I did conceal certain information. I was a student of Archmagus Amanat, but I committed an act of betrayal after he deviated from sacred dogma. He fell into schism and challenged the sacred boundaries of knowledge. The blessed Amanat claimed the limits of what is permitted must be expanded, because by refusing to explore certain law, we find ourselves in contempt of the seventh universal law. Comprehension is the key to all things. My mentor put forth a thesis claiming that we have stagnated that ritual is now nothing but a cage for souls and false worship of the Omnissiah. He sought to break the cycle of mindless repetition because he saw the inevitable demise of our faith and all humanity. This statement is false. My mentor's words sound like heresy. Limits were established because it is dangerous to venture beyond. Each step past them could lead to a bloody slaughter, but the blessed Amonat was not afraid. The teachings of the blessed Amonat spread, and word of it reached the conclave of the Cognizant fleet. They recognized his teachings as tech heresy. Many tech priests suddenly vanished or were subjected to servo penance for minor transgressions. The students of Amonat, whose number included many enlightened and respected brothers, resisted. My prognosis showed that our most likely future was a schism and a fratricidal war that would destroy the Cognizant fleet. That was when I headed to the Conclave. I confessed and handed the information about my mentor's research over to the Conclave. Brazen, anathematic studies of the Forbidden Law. The Conclave could use that data to summon Archmagos Amonat to stand trial and compel him to repent on pain of excommunicate traitoris. His subsequent fate is unknown to me. This statement is true. However, I took this step out of loyalty to my mentor. He rejected caution and was leading us to a blasphemous war where he would become the first and most important victim. I did not want to witness his destruction and tried to force him to submit. I wanted to return to my mentor and share his fate, but the Conclave found me repentant and sent me to the station Alter Templum Calixis EXT-17, where I was to atone for my previous transgressions. This statement is false. I, Pascal Hahnemann, fully accept responsibility for my profane acts and betraying the trust of my esteemed mentor. I was summoned there by a message that was encrypted with the Blessed Amonat's personal code, and could it be interpreted in several ways. One thing was certain: we were in danger, and I had to go to Rycat Minoris. I never met him, but I think he was a person of worth. The phrase that came from his lips indicates he was in contact with my mentor. I preserved his cortical implant and absorbed the information it contained. However, the large amounts of data memories are encoded with a cipher yet unfamiliar to me. I was wrong when I assumed it was the blessed Archmagos Amonat who assumed the guise of Abel Hahnemann. But there is a connection between him and the Reverend Abel, and I intend to uncover the nature of this link. Acknowledged. I will return to ruminating on the search for the blessed Amonat. May your labors be effective and fruitful.
I'm usually the one interested in the pasts of those around me, not the reverse. I come from a night world, Guizorn 3. I belong to a branch of one of the noble houses until my exceptional abilities were discovered. After that, I was sent on a black ship to Holy Terra, where I was trained and I began my service for the glory of the Imperium. Like many psychers unaware of their curse, I found out when a strong emotional reaction triggered an involuntary response. My great-aunt had a pet grink. One day, it bit me, and I boiled it from inside out. And when my great-aunt slapped me for what I'd done, I boiled her too. I don't consider raw emotions to be a necessity in everyday communication. But let me assure you that I am more than capable of anger. Fortunately for others, I learned to focus it. Properly measured rage reveals the full potential of combat psychana in much the same way as aged cheese reveals the notes of a mature amasec. Picture a vast prison ship, filled with frightened, angry psychers who can't control their abilities and who have just lost their homes and their families. Some of them were children and adolescents like I was. Some were monstrous creatures who no longer had the right to be called human, or psychopaths who reveled in their impure powers. Once, when one of the miscreants broke free, those in command simply depressurized the bay and got rid of the culprit, along with the prisoners and crew tainted by him. But even after that, I heard the echo of inhuman suffering and terror that filled that part of the ship. It grieves me to recall that episode to this day. No. First, I was accorded the status of a psyker fit for service in the Imperial Guard, where I then spent several years. It was only afterward that I became an agent of the Golden Throne. I do, but I have no ties to my homeworld now. None except my first name. I left Guizorn 3 when I was still a child. My family disowned me, stripping me of my family name. I was given a new one by those who trained me. Even for a noble, being branded a psyker is a mark of eternal shame. I experienced that firsthand before I was put on the Black Ship. Since the day of my initiation as an acolyte. So, decades. How many real years it's been, it's hard to say. Indeed. I have visited many of the places brought to the Emperor's light, and those sullied by the filth of the archenemy. In truth, even after all these years spent visiting the various corners of the Imperium and looking beyond its borders, I still consider the Segmentum Solar to be the greatest of all humanity's bastions. Nothing compares to the majesty of Holy Terror, the might of Mars, the grandeur of the Segment's other worlds. You can't really be expecting me to answer that question, can you? The first step for biomancers such as myself is to take control of the processes of their own body, including aging. I've endured innumerable hazards in my work. If I allowed every trace of them to remain, I would look completely different today. Gladly. Of course not. The Lord Inquisitor's entourage comprises dozens of people. The best of the best. Experts in various fields and disciplines. Some of them I know personally. Others I have never met. To be honest, I'm not even certain that the people I know are still alive. I used to work with other acolytes of the Lord Inquisitor, but in the Coronis Expanse, I have been working alone. I had never even considered such a thing before you asked. Perhaps I do. Sometimes. Your concern for my needs, Lord Captain, is extremely unexpected. Would you like to remedy my deficit of personal interaction? I would not be opposed to a pleasant conversation, if you can find the time. We are not a retinue. We are acolytes. As for your question, I am closer than anyone else to the one I call my personal teacher. The Lord Inquisitor deemed me worthy of undertaking the most important and sensitive tasks requiring the attention of agents of the Golden Throne. Such as?
I'll be your beacon in the darkness. Voidmaster, if you please. Bloods! Sail upon the seas of void. Voidmaster, if you please. Engage the lads! Sail upon the seas of void. Commence the symphony of macro cannons. Lance! No one can outmaneuver House Orselio.
newcomers! How's this for a warm welcome?
Oh, glorious spectacle of your demise.
I'll bleed you dry. I'm here, maggot.
Just a minor.
Scared yet?
Let's get to it. Here we go.
Victory is imminent. It will be done.
Emperor, protect me.
Hold on. Let's make it quick.
Rejoice in battle! As the Emperor comes, is a prayer. I'll do it.
Let's get to it.
Brace yourself,
Let's get to
Abelard.
Let's get to it.
I am a navigator, not a servitor.
Faith without deeds is worthless.
I have read tomes of military tactics.
I bring mercy and retribution. I shall not fail. The shadows will see it done. Let your soul. Death is a blessing. As honor orders, the other side awaits. Trust me. Brings me no pleasure.
Let's get to it.
I'm not injured. I'm enraged.
Let's see. Oh, a genius at... Oh, a wicked. Schemes within schemes.
Explorers know one route. Forward. Running binary override.
Here we go. Let's make it quick.
High momentum.
At your beck and call. Indeed. We'll rule the stars themselves. At your beck and call. It will be done.
God Emperor, move through me. Be the fire in my heart. I will not. As the Emperor commands, I act. That is not the Emperor's will. I will bathe this battlefield in righteous fury. Show me what you've got.
Pain and duty go hand in hand.
Step aside. The navigator is coming. if I may. Isn't this a job for the serfs?
Death comes in silence. I shall not fail. The shadows will see it done. Trust me. As honor ordains.
The storm approaches. Fate claims another one.
The scriptural prognosis is favorable.
Victory is imminent. One fewer target.
Curiosity sings in my veins.
Alpha Row, the best dock on Footfall. It is clean, well-equipped, and caters to a higher class of traveler. By local standards, that is. Attention to detail is the key to success.
In this tapestry of a world, I am the rogue thread.
As it should be.
A soldier would have been disciplined for such a performance. An expected result.
One step at a time, amidst the madness. To the ordinary, I am an enigma. Patience? My nerves are frayed. be no peace in my
This place was intended to be merely a hall within the temple, but now a whole city has been squeezed into it.
A rational decision. Ecclesiarchy temples lack the critical functionality that a void station requires. Unlike the chapels of the Adeptus Mechanicus.
Suffer not the heretic to live!
Give me strength.
I will leave footprints of scarlet, as the tenets demand. Death is a blessing. Trust me, brings me no pleasure. As honor ordains. I shall not. Death is a blessing. As the tenets. As honor or killing brings me no pleasure.
Guided by faith. Each strike is a prayer. I'll do it. As the Emperor, none can escape the Emperor's judgment.
did it. Why? Haven't I studied hard enough?
triumphs.
This Explorator is blessed with multifunctionality.
What lies beyond?
Operation successful.
Curiosity sings in my veins.
My success is an irrefutable certainty. The machine god grants me insight.
They will see. Oh, yes, they all will see. Applaud my brilliance.
I've read about this.
Another notch. In this tapestry of a world, I am the rogue thread.
Because Balaka trades Xeno artifacts on Footfall. The fairly and the Ordo Xenos is in no hurry to rectify the situation.
There will be no peace in my wake. Oh, what lies beyond?